permission, we would like to begin today's session.
Go ahead, please. That was
So, ma'am,
quite a lot of good introduction. I'm just very excited to hear, all the good things that people have to say sometimes about me. So, yeah.
so, ma'am, today we have with us a mixed audience. Most of
Great.
us are law students, but
All right.
still it's a mixed audience. So, before we get into the legalities and stuff, I would like if you could explain law to everybody in the common language and how it affects all of us on a day-to-day basis.
Right. So, that's a very interesting question. I wish I was one of those, Greek philosophers who had this whole thought about what exactly law was, or rather is. The idea about law is that it is basically a set of rules which are there so that we all function according to those rules, and that people are not evading those rules. It's just like a school. Maybe
Mm.
you've got rules that you have to study from this time to this time, etc. So exactly how you have rules which are laid down so that you lead your life, which is not really interfering with the rights of the other people who are there. So maybe it's your neighbor, maybe it's anybody else, maybe it's just a third person who's walking down the street. You are not disturbing their uh, right to life, and that you're also leading your life in the best way possible. So I think law in a nutshell is just that. And these rules or the law is there to enable you to be the best that you can be. So a lot of times we will see that many of us feel that no, these laws or rules are actually inhibiting us from exercising our freedom. But I think freedom has to come with reasonable restrictions, and that is exactly what these rules actually lay down for us. Yeah, so in a nutshell, that should be it. Yeah.
So, ma'am, like, how does it affect us all? Like, if we are not following the laws, then chote rules, if we are breaking little rules every day, then we cannot be taken to the court. But then still we see that on the road, people are always saying that I'll see you in the court. So it's a common saying. So, like, people are often misunderstood with this thing that I'll see you in the court. They think it's a very simple thing that you just go and sit in front of the judge and decide that who's the right one there. So what do you think about it? Like,
I think there is no such thing as I should see you in the court. I think increasingly in India, as we've seen a lot of things happening from the West, also something which is called as an alternative dispute resolution mechanism is more is something that all of us look forward to. However, that's a very different ball game altogether. The idea is that if at all you're stepping on someone's right, all right, so my car goes and bangs someone else's car,
hmm,
or I hit a pedestrian who's walking down, or maybe I do something as simple as not even putting on my mask if
hmm,
the government asks me to put on a mask. These are things that I'm doing because I'm told to do, but that does not mean that I have to do it because I'm told to do. I should also be doing it because that's the right way of living, or that is the right way of doing things. And the moment I step on any of these rules where I see that I'm hurting someone, correct, the inevitable conclusion is that you have to approach the court, or you have to approach the police in order to get those rights settled. So kai bari aisa hota hai ki an eye for an eye will make the whole world
hmm,
blind, right? So I cannot go
yes.
and fight with another person, and the other person should not be really fighting with me. That is why we have somebody who's independent and unbiased to decide upon the rights that are there between two people. Now, having said that, the entire profession of being lawyers
Hmm,
is seen as very adversarial in nature. What that means is that we are there to argue, and we are there to fight, and we are just going to be like, my lord, this is what has happened, and my lord, this is what should be there, and things like that. No, it's not that. It's supposed to be um, it's supposed to be non-adversarial, in the sense that as humans we are able to decide on our problems, or our areas where we are actually conflicting. We can sit and decide. And this is why we've been able to see that in a lot of high courts and in
Hmm.
different courts now, there's something which is called as pre-litigation mediation, which has started to happen, which basically means that before you proceed and file a case, you can basically look at mediation in some manner to arrive at a resolution of the conflict instead of really going to the court. So that of course means ki as lawyers, हमारा काम कम हो रहा है. But that does not really mean that that conflict part is also sort of reducing. So it's not that वो बाप दादा के जमाने से जमीन के ऊपर विवाद चल रहा था, तो that is going to go on till the grandson and the granddaughters are
Yeah.
born. No, there is supposed to be a common ground that is to be found, and that people move forward on those common grounds instead of keep fighting and being at loggerheads and therefore destroying relationships. This I'm talking about in terms of family setup. But yeah, if I'm going on the road,
Yeah.
I hit someone, then there has to be a culprit who's there. There has to be an accused, and that is where you have the law which comes in and determines as to who's the culprit, who's the accused, who's then thereby convicted of the offense which has been committed. And therefore the punishments accordingly have been defined as far as the criminal law is concerned.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. So, ma'am, the next question, it's like it's of my personal interest, because you are a first generation female advocate, and I am also an aspiring first generation female advocate in my family.
All the best.
So
Oh,
I
nice.
would like to know,
Mhm.
that you knew that you had no legal backup with you. So what kept you going through the laborious legal studies and the other bumps that came through your way?
See, I think there is no one answer to it. I think it was a combination of a lot of things that kept happening. This profession is one where it is what my senior used to say, Mr. PP Rao sir. He used to say that law is a jealous mistress. It's going to always be there. It is going to be jealous of whatever else you're doing. So if today is a Sunday, it's an evening time, and I would probably want to maybe watch something on Netflix, but I know tomorrow is Monday and I have to argue a matter, so therefore I have to choose a file and read it instead of doing something which probably my heart desires but I cannot. So that's how the profession is. It is very demanding, it's extremely challenging, and that you have to build it up by your own grit. So you know Advika, I'll tell you one thing. I'm reading a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. That's a book that I suggest, if at all,
Okay, ma'am.
girls, boys, anyone who wants to read must read. And I was trying to draw parallel to what she writes, and I wanted to see if I actually have that or not. And I realized that the only reason why I stuck around for such a long time, believe me, there are every year in Supreme Court corridor, we'll see at least 20 new faces, 30 new faces, and by the end of the year we will not even see one or two of them surviving, right? Why is that so? That's because the work is not so much, or you sort of realize that I'm not able to do this. This is not the place where I should be. Maybe I should look at corporate work.
Yes.
I should not be looking into litigation. Maybe that's a safe thing to do. It's got nothing to do with gender, but the fact that there are boys and girls both who come and then they leave profession because they feel that the work cannot be generated so much. And that's the reality also with the current lockdown and COVID situation. Work has definitely decreased. However, the only thing, when I was reading Grit and I was trying to draw a comparison between my life and what it seems a gritty person does, and it was basically that, you don't give up. You sort of just stick around. And there are days when you will hate it. There will be days when you will think that, no, I don't want to do this. No, I think I should be looking at something else, or maybe this is not what I want to do. There are two ways of dealing with it, Advika. The one way of dealing with it is to see if that's actually true for you, which basically means that, maybe litigation is something that you don't like. If you don't like it, then don't force it upon yourself. If you like it, then it is the second option of not giving up. But do realize early on whether or not that is something that excites you. whether that is something that it's something that you're so passionate about. I was watching Warren Buffett's this thing documentary on one of those Hotstar things yesterday,
Mm.
and he says that I've never in my 40 years of life ever been to 40 years of career of doing whatever it is that I do at Berkshire Hathaway. I have never for once on any given day actually gone to work. I have gone to a place which is something that I've been passionate about, and I love that thing. I love my work. And I think that is the most important thing for anybody, to determine whatever it is that you want to do in your life. Is it something that you feel is something that you're passionate about? If it feels like work, then just treat it like work. But if you think that, yeah, this is something that I'm passionate about, when I get up in the morning and I know that I have to go to the court and maybe, argue a matter, or maybe I have to just draft something, I'm excited about it, right? So if that's how you feel, then you should do it. But if you feel that no, this is not something that I'm really excited about, this is not something that I'm passionate about, don't do it. There are so many things that you can actually do in this world. Such amazing choices are there for everybody. I've always felt that if you're passionate about something, then do it, and do it with your 100%, because then it will not feel like work. Then it will be like, you're just sort of, going dancing. So it's like that. Then you'll have fun. You'll have fun doing it. You will not feel that, oh my God, I'm forced to do it. No. I think that's the difference. So a lot of people, maybe non lawyers, yeah. My suggestion is that the day you feel that this is what I really like and this is what makes me feel happy, then yeah, that's the thing that you should be doing. Yeah.
So, ma'am, like you said, it's all about following the passion. So, ma'am, we have to make a choice after we join the law school that what specialty we want to move further in. So, ma'am, there is a lot of curiosity within us and a lot of options they seem to attract us at that moment. So, at that particular moment, when we have to make the decision, we are often very confused and we cannot figure out that if what we are deciding upon is really what we want to stick around for the rest of our career. So, ma'am, what do you suggest is the right way of making this choice, and how can we keep our strengths in mind while making this decision?
See, can I give you a practical answer instead of giving you a right or a wrong answer? I mean, something that I have actually applied on my life. And that has been that I don't specialize in anything. I mean, I have right now, fortunately, touch wood, God has been kind. I have all kinds of work: CPC, CRPC, you've got criminal cases, I've got IBC, I've got PMLA, I've got matrimonial, I mean, you name it and I'm doing it, arbitration, etc., everything. And you know how that happened? So like I said about PP Rao sir, so when I cleared my AOR examination, and I just very excitedly gone and told him, I still remember the place in the Supreme Court, there was one of the corridors, and I went and I said that I've cleared it. And he said that, did you top? I said, no, नीचे से top किया मैंने, ऊपर से नहीं top किया. So he was laughing at me. And then he said, so then I said, but I don't know how the experience is going to be. I mean, you know, uh, I don't know how work is going to flow in and all of that. So he said to me, and that's something that I do even till today. And he said to me that, Pallavi, any work that comes, don't think of yourself कि मैं Supreme Court की AOR हूँ, तो I'm going to only do Supreme Court work. Don't think that I'm only going to do civil law or service law or matrimonial law. No. Whatever work comes to you, you should be doing that. Be it of any forum, be it of anything. And that, I think, has kept me in a good steadfast condition so far. The reason being that, that gave me an opportunity to learn a lot of things, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
everything I've learned in terms of doing it on the job. Second, if you know how to read your Bear Act, right? If you know that, okay, this is arbitration and I know how to read it and I know from cover to cover or any specific section, if I have to read it, will I be able to understand or not? You can do it, right? You will always know that, okay, this is the meaning or the interpretation of a particular section and how I'm supposed to apply it. And that is exactly what a lawyer has to do. You should know exactly how to apply a section, and everything else is relatively the same. Now, if I ask you what is the meaning of, let's say, if a section starts with notwithstanding clause, what does it mean? What's a non obstante clause? You will always know, right? So, if that non obstante clause is found in, let's say, section 32A of the IBC or any other section in any other statute, you will always know how to apply it, right? You will know how to argue that part out. So, specialization, I think, is has got more to do with the fact that, okay, this is something that you want to learn more about, right? So maybe it is, a lot of people find IPR to be something that they want to learn more about because they want to specialize in it, and then go into a corporate law firm which is specifically looking into IPR. So that is a vision that you would have of yourself as to what you want to do, correct? But if I- at the end of the day, if you're a litigating lawyer, then as a litigating lawyer, you should be jack of all. You should know at least all the law. Most of the cases which are happening just now, you would get an understanding of which are the laws which are most applicable. So for instance, right now, if you look at it, IBC, DRT provisions, if you look at SURFACE and all of that, these are the kind of laws which a lot of people are getting attracted to. But NCLT, NCLAT, Companies Act, all of this is a separate realm. Then if you're looking at IPR, then you're looking at IPR as to how you want to do it. Or ADR, if you're looking at ADR, then the arbitration and international arbitration, then you should know what SIAC rules look like, what Mumbai International Arbitration Center's rules look like, or what DIAC's rules look like, all of that. So uh, specialization would then entail that you're basically trying to know a lot more about a specific area, but you should never say no to any area of law, because I think it's easy, it's quite easy, it's not very difficult to understand. Yeah.
So, ma'am, you have mentioned your teacher. So, like, you are an inspiration to many of us right now. We read you also on your articles and we have seen you. So, ma'am, like, I would like to know that when you were in the law school, who was your inspiration then? And, like, who did you look up to that I want to, I want to become somebody like that, or I want to take that teaching of his and implement that in my life? So, who
So
was
I'll tell
your
you that,
inspiration?
Advika, when I was in law school, I absolutely never wanted to become a lawyer. I had absolutely no desire also of being a lawyer. I was preparing for civil services, and the reason I was doing law was only because my parents thought that ये 3 साल 4 साल अपनी पढ़ाई करेगी, इससे बढ़िया है कि कुछ professional degree ले ले. So that's the reason why I had done law. And I had absolutely no desire of pursuing it as a career also. Then I went to Australia, I did my MBA, became an investment banker. It was very good. It was nice, glamorous kind of a work that I used to do. Then there was a point in my life when I stumbled upon the autobiography of Justice Leela Seth, called On Balance, right? And I read that, and while I was reading it, and it's very difficult for me to read something cover to cover, like ek hi baar mein. One, I never get the time, and two, even if I get the time, I never have the focus also of reading it, because I don't find it so interesting. And that was the book that I finished off. It's quite thick. I finished it off, I think, in 2 days, and I went through the whole of it, and I thought, this looks really interesting. I mean, this is a great career option, and this is something that I already have the degree, then why not explore it? So then there was a friend of my father's who's an AOR. So my father said that, why don't you start going in evening and sit and in his office and try and learn, see if you like something, see if you are able to understand drafting, etc. So I went, and I was he asked me कि ये SLP है, इसको जरा पढ़ो और देखो तुम्हें समझ में आता है कि नहीं. And it was a very interesting case, I'll tell you. So it was a case about some man who had done some theft of oot ka doodh. Okay. So this was a
Okay.
case which had come from, I think, one of those Rajasthan का कोई शहर रहा होगा छोटा सा, जहाँ पे उसको कोई कन्विक्ट किया गया होगा कि उसने ऊँट का दूध चुरा लिया था या क्या किया था, and must have come. I still remember that ऊँट का दूध वाला part. I don't know why, because I found it very funny that there was something like this. So he called me, and then he's like, अच्छा आपने क्या पढ़ा? मेरी तो हंसी छूट गई, मुझे तो समझ में ही नहीं आया हुआ क्या. So obviously, and I was like, why am I wasting my time? I was already earning a good amount of money as an investment banker. But then when I went again, then so that day was like really rubbish. I did not do anything. But the next day when I went, I interestingly, he's understood that she doesn't. I don't think that she's actually in the mood also of becoming a lawyer. So then he started to tell me, Acha, look at this provision and see if you understand. Then, very gradually that interest came. And then when I went to Supreme Court, I started my practice directly in Supreme Court. I never started with the lower court. So when I went to the Supreme Court for the first time, and I went to, I don't know if you guys have been to the Supreme Court or not, but if you go towards inside Supreme Court, there is a cafeteria which is right opposite Library 1. All right, and then there is this. You come up the stairs, and there's this corner which goes towards Court 4. And the first day that I went and I saw that corner, and I remember that Justice Leela Seth had written that she was standing over there, and one of her friends came and said that emergency has been declared in the country. And the moment I saw that, it is then that I realized that there is a lot of history here, and that if I have to do something, then I have to look at it very seriously. And then I left my job, and everything else went away, and the only thing I ever wanted to do was to be there. And even if I had case, I did not have case, and that was not the virtual hearing wala time, that was a physical hearing wala time. So I would go and sit in the court, matter ho na ho, phir bhi jaake main I used to sit. And that's how I learned, by watching people, by looking at how they were doing it. uh, Thankfully, I had panel for state of UP at that point in time, so I was doing a lot of criminal matters for the state. So that gave me an understanding about criminal law, and that's how that passion started to develop. And as they say, that became the storyline, the through line, as far as my life is concerned. But till today, I think Justice Leela Seth's autobiography On Balance was something that really inspired. Now, if you ask me in the current times, uh, I think in current times, that one too many senior advocates who inspire me every single day. I mean, when the moment I see them argue, I feel you kind of learn from them so much. You're briefing them, how they grasp a particular point, or how they are putting it in a manner that you would have never thought कि इस तरीके से भी इसको present किया जा सकता है. Be it Dr. Singhvi, be it Mr. Rohatgi, be it any one of these, all Mr. Sibbal. I mean, I think yes, Friday only I was watching him argue a matter in IBC. The man has court craft, and the way they say it, you become mesmerized. And it's not just the lawyers, you'll see the bench also, you'll see the honorable judges, the way they behave, the kind of questions they ask you. I think these are times that we are living in, which is giving us so much exposure and so much learning at the same time. So I think every day there is something to learn. And you've got Justice Hima Kohli. If you look at the high court, the any of these, आप सब बच्चे तो cause list उठा के कोई भी एक कोर्ट में ना लॉग इन कर लिया करो, अगर आपको टाइम मिले. एंड देन वॉच जस्टिस रेखा पल्ली, जस्टिस प्रतिभा सिंह, or Justice Jyoti Singh, or just log into the Chief's Court and watch the way people are arguing, the way judges are dealing with it. It's beautiful. You learn so much. It's just you're not even supposed to get a pass made and get inside the court. You just have to log in and see how it is happening. I think that's the biggest experience that you will have, and very huge learning also. Yeah. इतने लंबे
That
लंबे
is
जवाब मैं दे रही हूँ. I'm so sorry.
no, ma'am, that is surely something I'll be doing at least because I really want to get into litigation. So it would be a
It,
good
all
thing.
of the litigation, people who want to get into litigation, it's a good thing. पता है आजकल सारे links आपको उनकी website पे मिल जाते हैं. It is open for everybody. And you can, if you really like litigation, then you should also look at Saket Court के links आते हैं. Look at that. Look at how they are arguing matters. Patiala House Court के आते हैं, 30,000 court के आते हैं. Look at it. Go on the website and you'll find it, and you'll learn. It's all watching and learning. It's all watching and learning. Code craft at least comes from that only. Yeah.
So, ma'am, you mentioned civil services also. So, one of our participants here in the form they filled, in that they asked us that if they want to prepare for judicial services. So they wanted to know that when is the right time according to you when one should start studying, and what should be the main focus along with the legal studies that we're doing at college.
See, I think if you want to take your examination, any kind of examination, do it right out of college, because that's the time वो पढ़ाई आपके दिमाग में रहती है. वो नहीं होता कि if there's some time which has passed by and then you don't become a money minded person. You don't think that, oh, I'm earning so much money, why should I leave this and prepare for civil services or anything like that. I think if you have won the strength to sit for 14 hours and study, I think that's when you should be doing it, and that is the best time, is right out of college. So those 2 3 years, look at it, or 4 years, devote it, and see that you're able to prepare for civil services or judicial services in those. But give yourself a timeline. Don't like just keep doing it for forever and ever. एक timeline आप अपने को दीजिए. मैंने at least अपने को दे रखा था कि okay, if I'm not able to finish, if I'm not able to clear it till such time, then I'm going to move forward. I will not be like stuck with it. I think just have a practical 4 attempts or 5 attempts. I mean, whatever it is that you want to do, just do it. And then if you think that it's not working out anyway, you've got a professional degree, you can practice any day. The other thing that I suggest is that if you are able, see, if you join a law firm or if you join someone's chamber, what becomes
Yes, ma'am.
difficult is that, work is so much that it is never possible for you to study. So I feel that continuously, if you're going to study and not, if you're going to work and not study, then it's not worth it, because it demands a lot of time to study, and how many number of revisions you're able to do. And if you look at the board in terms of पूरे साल का, अगर आप सपोज नॉर्थ इंडिया के सारे एग्जाम्स देने की कोशिश करते हो, जो कि दिल्ली का हो गया, यूपी का हो गया, राजस्थान, हरियाणा, these 4 5 states that has Hindi as an option. So then you will see that every 2 3 months कोई ना कोई एग्जाम हो ही रहा होता है. So then
Yes,
you
ma'am.
don't even have that much time to devote. So take out those 3 4 years at any point in your life. I'm not saying that you should think कि नहीं मैं 21 to 24 ही करूंगा. No, maybe you want to prepare for HJS after 35. Then take out those 3 4 years of your life and then devote to it with single-minded focus and determination. Here is something else that I remember from yesterday's movie that I watched, Warren Buffett wali, and he says that they Bill Gates and Warren Buffett were in some of the in one of the parties, and Bill Gates' father said that now that all of us are here, so we must put एक चिट में हर इंसान अपने लिखेगा कि which is that one word that they think uh, uh, made them successful. So everybody writes a word, and imagine what Warren Buffett and Bill Gates writes. Both of them wrote, without even collaborating with each other, a single word, which was focus. I think that's a very important thing. We all have to have focus when we are doing anything, whatever it is that you want to achieve in life. If you have the focus, you'll be able to, because you'll keep finding how to move from one point to another.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, we have a participant here with us, Tia. So, she wants to know that you were talking about discovering passion, and that is how we should move on. So, her question is that how does one discover their passion or know what field of law they want to pursue? Basically, she wants to know that between litigation and corporation, how should one decide?
All right. So as far as corporate law is concerned, you know. You have to again look at what you want to do as far as corporate law is concerned. See, corporate law में भी बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं. You can be a general counsel with a company, which basically means that you'll be, like a manager legal for a corporate, for a multinational firm or for any company. Or you can be working with a law firm, and then law firms में भी बहुत सारे areas होते हैं. Mergers and acquisition could be one area, or you could be in their lit team, or you could be doing something else. So there are so many teams which are there. That completely depends upon you as to what kind of work excites you. um, as far as litigation is concerned, litigation का मतलब है कि you have to generate your own clients. Two, you should be able to service them on your own. Three, you should also be able to meet out with all whatever it is that the court desires from you, and that you should know what is the best for your client so that you are able to deliver. See, at the end of the day, we are all professionals who are providing a service, and the service only the whole idea of a service is that you have to be able to deliver something to them, right? So you have to
Yes,
have
ma'am.
that kind of a capacity to provide that end to end solution. Now, as an independent litigator, like how I am, I run a small law firm. So that basically means that I'm a clerk also, and I'm also the arguing counsel. I'm also the filing clerk. I'm also everything in between, carrying my jola also with me. So if you think that you are able to do something like that, you're entrepreneurial, go ahead, do it, give it a shot. If you at any point in time feel that no, this is not something that is exciting me, look at desk job. I mean, corporate law is, it's not that being a corporate lawyer is any less than being a litigator. I think corporate lawyers have far more things to worry about, because if you're drafting a specific clause in a contract for your client, you have to be you have to think at least 10 steps ahead, that let's say tomorrow in any eventuality this clause comes as a point of conflict, how will we deal with it? So it's not a very easy task, so to say. So every single job profile will define, will demand a different person, and you have to see if that is something that you're able to provide. And as far as looking at your passion is concerned, or understanding your passion is concerned, is Tia, nobody knows. You should, one, in life, I'm going to be 40, so this is something that I think I can, as a gyan, I can give all of you, is that everybody has their own timeline in life. All right. I started practicing law in my late 20s, and you guys are going to start practicing law in your early 20s. You can make more mistakes and not worry about it, right? So don't think that my friend is achieving this much and I am not able to achieve it, and उसने इतनी एज में ये कर लिया और मैंने इतनी एज में ये नहीं किया, उसके पास तो 10 इंटर्नशिप सर्टिफिकेट्स हैं साल भर में और मेरे पास एक भी नहीं है. No parameter at all, doesn't matter also. Don't think on those lines. Always think about what is the right thing for you, and look at the timelines. And don't and these timelines should be your own timelines. These should not be in comparison to anybody, because in your life what are your challenges will not be the same challenges for the other person. आपके घर में, आपके परिवार में क्या हो रहा है, वो जरूरी नहीं है कि दूसरे घर के दूसरे परिवार में भी वही चीज हो रही हो. Everybody has their own challenges, so don't get time bound, but make sure that every day you are making progress and that you are honest to yourself. किसी और से नहीं ऑनेस्ट होना है. हमें ये नहीं देखना कि मम्मी पापा ने देखा कि नहीं कि मैं 12 घंटे पढ़ रही थी कि नहीं, या मेरी टीचर ने देखा कि नहीं कि मैंने उसको सारे सवाल के जवाब दिए. नो, you have to be honest to yourself. So you should know that I'm putting in 14 hours of work here. And if I am putting in 14 hours of distraction free work, then I know that I'm going to achieve my target, whatever it is that I set out for myself. So it's very simple. And you will only put in those 14 hours when you're passionate about it. If somebody's forcing you to do that 14 hours, you will never be able to do it. Then you'll be like, lao acha Facebook check kar leta hu, acha usne Instagram pe ye photo dali, acha wo wahan ghum raha hai. This is all that's going to happen. Then you will never be able to do it, because you want distraction. Your mind feeds on distraction. So you will only be able to do a distraction free work when you are passionate about that work. So
Thank
yeah,
you, ma'am. I'm sure
बहुत सारा
it
ज्ञान हो
must
गया,
be
sorry.
clear to her. Ma'am, like I mentioned earlier, also, most of us, we are law students. So, ma'am, we have a lot of internships to look after. So, I would really like to know that what internships do you suggest, or what the law probabilities are, like job probabilities, sorry, they are after law school, especially the internships, because we have to take one every semester and they carry a lot of marks. So, what do you suggest is the right way of taking up internships and to make the most out of it, like not just for the name of it, but to make the most out of it, to learn everything that we can in that short period of time.
See, I don't know the answer to it, but I will tell you my experience with the interns. Okay. I never did any internship in my life, so I can't really tell you anything about whether or not how it is that you should be choosing any good internship, etc. वो certificate आ जाता था. Sorry, I know you guys are recording it, but nonetheless, this is something that I'm telling you honestly. The second thing is, when I get interns, all right. So there are always good interns and bad interns. I am telling you honestly, the good ones are the ones who make my life easier. They are the kind of people that I know that I've told them that, can you help me with this? And they will help me with that specific point, right? So if I ask them that, okay, ये एनजीटी की अपील है, मुझे इसके नोट्स बना के दे दो, उनको वो चीज़ समझ में आए ना आए, लेकिन वो फिर भी अपना 100% बना के उसके नोट्स बना के देते हैं, राइट? द अदर काइंड ऑफ इंटर्न्स आर, स्पेशली आजकल जब से ये वर्चुअल हो गया है तब से, कि मैंने आज काम दिया, मैंने कहा भैया मेरे को फ्राइडे तक ये काम दे देना, थर्सडे रात को मैसेज आएगा कि मैम मेरे को ना बुखार हो रखा है तो आई कांट डू इट, आई एम सो सॉरी, एंड लाइक दैट. एंड
Hmm.
this is exactly how you look at these people. Then you realize that, okay, my faith in engaging someone as an intern, it's just gone. Then there are the ones who I don't even have to handhold. See, understand that anybody who's, they're very there's very little time that as litigators we have for our own self, right? So if somebody comes and is like helping you with, so that you are able to take that even 10 minutes out of your life, believe me, that's like the best feeling that you'll ever get. So I've had and I've been so fortunate. One of my interns, Shivam, who's also now with us as an associate, he had joined me, I think, in his third year. ठीक है, वो थर्ड ईयर से मेरे साथ इंटर्नशिप कर रहा था, एंड देन इट बिकेम वन ऑफ दोज लॉन्ग टर्म इंटर्नशिप, नहीं होती हर महीने वाली. सो ही यूज्ड टू कम every day. He used to basically come and work with us. That was the time when we had physical office wala, and he made my life easy. And the only reason why I hired him later on was because he made my life easy, and to this date he makes my life easy. I know that agar kuch ho raha hoga, and if there is anything that's going to go wrong, if I just tell Shivam that something is going wrong, or I expect that something might go wrong, I know that he's going to fix it. So that is what you look at. And the only thing that you should do, don't do 5 internships, 10 internships in a year. Do one internship, but do it so good that the other person is impressed by the work that you do. और कई बार क्या होता है ना, आई हैव नोटिस दिस, अ लॉट ऑफ इंटर्न्स कम एंड से कि मैम हम उनके यहाँ करने गए थे काम, तो उन्होंने तो हमें इंस्पेक्शन पे लगा दिया, फाइल की इंस्पेक्शन करके आओ. ठीक है, आपको अगर बोला किसी ने, खैर मैंने तो कभी नहीं लगवाया, लेकिन अगर किसी ने आपको सपोज इंस्पेक्शन पे लगा दिया, तो अगर आप इंस्पेक्शन करने गए हो, देन यू कम बैक एंड यू मेक, inspection is not a small thing, by the way. If you're going to inspect a file, you should know what is there, and you should come back and provide that to the person. No, this is, so how well you provide that, कि इंस्पेक्शन किया आपने, तो आपको फाइल देखने का मौका मिला, अगर आपने वो फाइल देखी तो आप उससे रिलेटेड केस लॉस भी निकाल सकते हैं. आपने वो फाइल पढ़ी तो आपको समझ में आया कि अच्छा ये पॉइंट्स हमारी तरफ से थोड़े मिस हो रहे हैं, या ये चीज हम ऐड कर सकते हैं. दैट इज दैट एडेड वैल्यू दैट यू ब्रिंग, and that I think makes you more hireable, because then I feel that, yeah, oh, so this person actually went 2 steps ahead. That means that if he or she made my life easier, and therefore I will hire. Then there are some other interns that I have I've had the privilege of having them. They are the ones who bring with them knowledge. See, as litigators, what happens is we are doing the same thing. Mostly it's the same thing in and out, right? Day in, day out, we're doing the same thing. Then there are certain people who come and then they will bring their knowledge with you. They will not sound as if they are the only ones who have knowledge, but the way they will explain you things, it becomes it's like nirvana that okay, I can actually have a discussion with someone who's so who's like, let's say, 20 years junior to me, and still has a way of putting things. those things actually make a lot of difference. Or for instance, जैसे मैंने suppose अपने LinkedIn पे कोई चीज डाली, okay, I like for instance अभी मैंने कुछ डाला था CRPC को लेके. Now there are people who actually sent me such amazing recommendations that I felt that इनके पास कितना they have so much cerebral power that they've been able to apply it, and they are what, in third year or fourth year of their college, but they are able to give me that recommendation. You should keep an eye open for all of this, that how is it that you're supporting someone, how is it that you're assisting someone, because in the initial years you always have to assist your senior. So how do you make their life easier? I think that's how you should look at it. तो इंटर्नशिप करो, लेकिन इतनी बढ़िया इंटर्नशिप करो ना कि वो जो आप जिसके अंडर आप इंटर्नशिप कर रहे हो वो आदमी आपसे इम्प्रेस्ड हो जाए बस. आई थिंक दैट्स इम्पोर्टेंट.
Wow. Thank you, ma'am.
नाउ यू नो हाउ
So,
आई स्पीक सो लॉन्ग ना, इतना बोलना चुप नहीं हो रहा है.
नहीं, ma'am.
टेल
So,
मी
ma'am,
मैम.
the concept of feminism, it has been very conveniently molded these days by people. Like, it's a concept which, whenever one speaks about it, always ends in those one of those let's agree to disagree discussions. And you have a special take on women and children, especially. So, what is feminism according to you in today's world? And what are some things that you suggest to us, especially as aspiring lawyers, that we can do to contribute to the right cause?
You'll be disappointed to know that I am not a feminist at all. I'm a humanist, and I've always believed, and this is something that I even gave in my recommendation to the National Commission of Women, that we
Yes.
should have gender neutral laws. See, as increasingly with the things that are happening in this country, and not just in our country, everywhere else in the world. I mean, it's not that women are not perpetrators of crime. They are, most certainly they are. Men have been perpetrators because they've had this patriarchal mindset, and they've always had this sense of entitlement that, okay, I actually own people, and therefore I will go and perpetrate some kind of fear upon them. But women are also equally doing all of that, and we cannot necessarily say that, okay, it's only one gender who's the perpetrator. Having said that, we are still the weaker section. We are still those who needs to be uplifted. Tomorrow if I go and I do something good, then I'm actually opening up the gate for another 100 girls who are behind me, who are just trying to look
Yes.
at me. I mean, if Justice Leela Seth wouldn't have done what she did, probably I would have never wanted to be a lawyer. The only reason why I wanted to do it was because she came from Lucknow. I come from Lucknow, and the fact that she was not like a lawyer per se. It was something that she did, which happened in course of her life. It was not a path that she had consciously taken up, but it just happened. Things like that. So when somebody has done it, or like for instance, you have Minakshi Arora ma'am. I think one lady that I have been completely mesmerized by is her. I remember when I'd gone to Supreme Court, and for the first time I'd seen her in the corridor, this tall figure, white hair, and wearing her senior dress, pants, and how you have the senior coat and the gown, and walking very. She walks very fast. Okay, and the moment I saw her, I was like, wow. Now that's the aura that I want to carry. And how is it that I found that? Because she was someone who's done it. And then when I finally got to brief her, she told me about how she came to this city with one suitcase and how she made it for herself. I feel that all of us as women, or all of us as girls, or all of us as being of the gender that we are, it is our inherent duty that we should be able to set examples for everybody else to follow. And I think because 10 people did it ahead of me, I'm able to do it. And I'm sure if I'm doing something, then there are people who are going to be able to do it. I mean, every single day, people from remote districts, like someone called me up from Gorakhpur today and said that I get so inspired by you. She's also an advocate who's studying, and I get so inspired by you, and I feel very motivated to do things. I mean, if I'm able to touch someone's life, believe me, you girls will do you girls will probably be rock stars in that sense, because there will be so many other people who will be looking up to you. It's a revolution in that sense. But the idea is that we should not be discounting the other gender because
Yes.
we think that this is what is rightfully ours, or there is a sense of entitlement. No, these are all privileges that has been given to us. So has it been given to the men also, but that should not be that, it should be at the cost of anybody. So um, while I'm saying that, as women we are supposed to lead and move forward, I'm also at the same time saying that it is important, equally important for men to recognize that and support us. The kind of generation that you all are in. I mean, I think here the necessity is for men and boys to be equal partners with their with women and girls, and I think that is increasingly happening. I'm sure you would all be noticing it in your classes as well. So it's not like how it used to be that
Yes,
oh,
ma'am.
घर का काम करो और ये करो और वो करो. Those are choices now. If you want to do it, you will do it. If you don't want to do it, you won't do it. You have a career, you have things to do. You can hire a maid, or you will have other people to provide you that support. But do it. जितना करोगे उतना बाकी लोगों को इंस्पिरेशन होता है.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, like while I was making the decision that I want to pursue further in law, a lot of people they came to me and they said कि नहीं नहीं law मत करो because you'll have to compromise on your ethics and morals. So, like, what are your views on the same, and how do you keep your personal take and professional take separate when a case comes to you?
Oh, tell me about it, especially if there is a matrimonial case that comes and I'm across a man who's completely being a male chauvinist. It's really difficult. I can't tell you how difficult it is. But yeah, you sort of, you just learn it in the profession. You sort of see, I'm supposed to be a lawyer, I can't be a judge. So if there is a client, I'm supposed to take care of him to the best of my ability. Then it has got nothing to do with the fact that I mean, I don't really like that person, or I don't like his thought process. No, then it is that he's my client and I have to do the best for him. It's upon the judge to then decide what it is that he wants to. And ethics, you will never ever compromise, because if you have strong work ethics from the day you start, then it continues. वो change नहीं होता. आप अगर आज 14 घंटे काम कर रहे हो while you are studying, you will always do it. There is this interview, and you guys should watch it, of Rajshekhar Rao sir. He's a senior advocate, and listen to it. It's quite interesting how I'm told that even till today he puts in 14 hours of work despite being a senior advocate. He's a young lawyer, 45, 46, not more than that. And these are the things that should be inspiring you, that you, at the end of the day, Advika, life is all about the hard work that you're putting in. Everything else just goes away. आप कितना मेहनत कर रहे हो, and there's always going to be someone who's probably outdoing you. So you have to always think about that person ki yaar kahin you would not know that person also. I don't know who I'm competing against, but I know कि अगर आज मैंने 14 घंटे काम किया है तो किसी ने तो 15 घंटे काम किया होगा. So it's like that, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, like, is there any one case that you think has a personal impact on you, or it has made you look at things differently?
I think most of the cases actually did, but I think Hadiya wala case was one case that gave me. Hadiya case was my one of the first cases that I'd done as an AOR, and that was a case where a girl who was a doctor, a homeopathy doctor, and she was kept under confinement by her parents because she chose to get married to someone who was from a different religion, and there was this whole thing about religious conversion,
Yes,
etc.
ma'am.
However, those parts were different. My only concern was that she's 23 and she should not be under the confinements of her parents. That's about it. If she chooses to be with her parents, that's a different story. But nobody, a father cannot keep her, and the court cannot rule that the father is the one who has to keep her, not a 23-year-old. After 18 years of age, we are all our own persons and we all have our fundamental rights that we have to exercise. So nobody should be stepping on that. I think that was one case. Uh, and because it was early on in my career, and it involved certainly the most important part of constitution, that can a high court practice exercising power under 226 can annul a marriage. Can that be exercised? I think these are the things. And then what had happened was that when this case was going on, so obviously there were senior advocates who were arguing. So this was a bench of Justice Deepak Mishra, Justice Chandrachud, and Justice Khanvilkar. So while the case was going on, one of the days, Justice Chandrachud and Justice Mishra, all the three judges, they said that we will want her to appear in person, that she should be brought to the court. And she was brought to the court. And when she came to the court and she started to speak, and she gave this whole, so she was speaking in Malayalam. And we had another senior advocate, Mr. Giri, who was translating it. And it was amazing. You should have seen the confidence with which that girl of 23 years old was speaking. You know, and this is the chief court of Supreme Court. So you would see that you have three judges who are sitting there. The entire court is filled with lawyers, and everybody is looking at her, and she's speaking confidently because she felt that her freedom was something which was not she was not able to exercise it. Those things, I think, make you believe that what you're doing is a good thing. There was another case that I did, which was about medical termination of pregnancy, where this girl was raped, and she was 24 weeks pregnant. So the medical board had then finally decided that no, she can look at termination. I think that was one case that obviously changed my thinking, because that was with respect to the right of a woman with respect to whether or not she wants to bear a child or not, and that too, which was as a result of rape and not necessarily something which was happening out of her own volition. I think these are cases that make you as a woman, or rather, like you use the term feminist, you feel that, yeah, these are things that are happening in the country, and that you're fighting those cases. I think those definitely have a lot of bearing on you. Yeah.
So I'm like, you win some, you lose some. So if
Oh,
you lose a case, so if you lose a case, how do you deal with it? Or what do you take from that case so that in the next case, if you have a similar case, so you don't lose that case?
see, mostly what happens is, Advika, by the time you come into an appeal, right? If you're in the High Court or you're in a Supreme Court, you know what would be the fate of the case, because you know it. If there is a concurrent finding and there is evidence which is basically screaming, which is against you, right? If it's a criminal, let's say if it's a criminal appeal which has come against a conviction of 302 or 307, you will look at the evidence and you will know that, yeah, that in most likelihood this has happened, and that the trial court has reached the correct finding. Nonetheless, you put in your 100%, but you know what the fate is going to be. So it's not something that becomes so personal to you. However, a lot of times when you know that it is a case which you've put in 100% and still the judge is not with you, then in those cases you feel that you know and this is not something that happens to me also. It happens to a lot of senior advocates, that then after 4 days they would realize that ये भी point था, मुझे शायद ये point बोलना चाहिए था. So you keep thinking about it, going and going that vicious circle of maybe I could have argued this point differently. So it's a good learning experience, yes, nonetheless. But you sort of don't always get cases which are replicas of one another. So you basically, every case is very different from the other, right?
Wow. So, ma'am, before I open the forum for the audience,
Okay.
I would like to ask just one more question.
Yeah.
That today you are very successful and you are at a very influential position. So, is there any particular future endeavor that you look forward to as an advocate or maybe beyond the profession?
So as an advocate, I look forward to something which I don't know if it's going to be there in my lifetime or not, but I would really want to see a full bench of women judges sitting. That's something that I'd really want to see in my life. You know how RBG had said that, in the US Supreme Court, she wanted that squatters should have at least, it will be, the day will be perfect when, you have 9 judges and 9 of them are women in the squatters. I feel that, I would actually want to see maybe a bench of 5 judges who are in the Supreme Court who are all women. I would like to see that someday. And I'm so happy that we've got Justice Nagaratna, who's going to be the first Chief Justice, women Chief Justice. She's amazing. I mean, if you ever get to look into her court, you should see the way she conducts the court. My goodness, she's still a puisne judge, but the way she handles, oh my God, I think quite influential. She knows she knows everything about the case. She'll put very pointed questions to you, and you have to be very prepared in front of, if at all you're arguing before her. And as a person, I think what I really want to do, in terms of having influences, I want that girls and women should know that um, they can actually do anything that they want to. There's no stopping. The only thing that is stopping is their own head and the boundaries that they make in their head, and nothing else. So I feel that, yeah, that's these are the two things that I feel. I really want that women should go out and out and enjoy their life. They should travel, they should do things that they want to. There's some question from Ruhani. Can you please name this female judge again? Due to some, this is Justice Nagaratna. You can Google and you'll find it. um, BV Nagaratna. She's going to be the first Chief Justice, woman Chief Justice of India. I think she's due to, after Justice Chandrachud, so it should be in 24 or 25. She should be the Chief Justice. And then, no, after Justice Chandrachud is Justice Sanjeev Khanna. After that, she should be the one. Um and then we've got, the other thing that I really want to do is have a good, I want to give back to society, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why we are in Rotary, we are in
Yes, yeah.
Rotaract, we are doing what we are doing. I see Ria is over here. Ria is our is with us in Rotaract Club of Resilience, which is associated with RCD Lotus. And these girls are doing fabulous job. I mean, I'm just very impressed by the kind of thoughts that they come, just as you guys are. I think at the end of the day, the fact that we are able to give back to the society is the biggest thing that we are able to do, and that charity never goes to waste. And I think we are all very proud to be part of Rotary and Rotaract, and I'm sure we will all stick around and do our bit as far as the society is concerned. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, now I open the floor for questions for the audience.
अब
So,
थक के सो चुकी हूँ अब तक अब तो
yeah. So, ma'am, if any of you wants to ask a question, you can either send it in the chat box or you can ask it yourself to ma'am. Um, Ma'am, we have a question.
Okay.
So, somebody is asking, like, they want to know that, was there ever a time that you feared speaking in front of an audience, like maybe in college or in competitions or in court? And if
Oh, the
yes,
first
then
day in the
how?
court itself, I was so scared. भाई मेरे तो घुटने ऐसे ऐसे कांपते थे in the initial time when I used to, and this was before registrar court also. It was not even the main court. It was just the registrar court जहाँ पे सिर्फ time लेने के लिए जाना होता था. So obviously it was there. It is something that you will always face, that the fear, the stage fear is always there. But I think with the kind of things that we are doing, at least in Rotary or in the Rotaract, every time you get an opportunity, go ahead and speak. See, maximum time people, nobody's even listening to what you're saying. So believe me, go ahead and speak anything that comes into your mind. And always have the confidence that whatever you're doing, you're doing the best. So the moment you have confidence, no, nothing should bother. And if at all you really want to improve your public speaking, then I would suggest that you do things which involve you to be in public light. And I think that should give you a tremendous amount of confidence. It takes a little while for the confidence to build up. I remember when I was in fourth standard, I had to do this debate and I completely forgot मुझे बोलना क्या है. मैंने जो 10 मिनट का स्पीच तैयार किया था वो मैं 1 मिनट में खत्म करके आ गई थी. अगर मुझे कोई फोर्थ स्टैंडर्ड में बोलता बेटा तुम लॉयर बनोगी और तुम जाएंगे चीफ कोर्ट में आर्ग्यू करके आओगे, मैं कहती पागल हो गए हो क्या, ऐसा तो हो ही नहीं सकता. But you never know. I'm telling you, life can be very different. So never look at anything that you're not able to do today as your failure. You should always think about it as an experiment to overcome it, and you will certainly do it. No big deal.
Yes, wow.
What was the name of
Uh,
the book you recommended for all of us to read? That's called Grit by Angela Duckworth. You can also, if you don't want to read the whole book because it's quite moti si hai, you can watch it on TED Talk. Just put in Angela Duckworth and you will come across a very good speech she's made of 10 minutes, which gives you a good understanding about grit. As a matter of fact, there is another there's another TED talk that I always recommend people to watch. This I'll just Google it and tell you. I've forgotten the name right now, or rather, I'll send it to Kumar and maybe he can circulate it to everybody in the group. This is a TED talk on your own. Uh, on the way that you look at yourself. This is by Caroline McHugh. I'll put it in the chat box so that if at all anybody wants to watch it, they should. Um, it's called as, I'll tell you which one. So this is called The Art of Being Yourself. Uh, this is a TED talk. So please, 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 it's a half an hour TED talk, but you should watch it. I think it's one of those, especially for girls, maybe. But I think it's equally relevant for men and boys. But if you do get an opportunity, do watch it. It tells you about how you should look at yourself, and I think that's the most important thing to look at in terms of how when you have to build confidence, that's the only way you can move forward with it. Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we have another question from Kartikeya. So his question is that what is your advice for a first generation lawyer who is aspiring for litigation?
Okay, my advice is that for the initial couple of years, do work with someone, because you need to understand procedure, you need to understand how you have to deal with clients, you have to understand how to advise a client, what is the appropriate remedy that you can give to that client. That's important. So so I think for the initial couple of years, do work with someone who's there, who's been into litigation. Now after that, when you're going independent, then look at how you want to pursue in terms of whether you want to establish your own chamber or do you want to work with a litigating firm. Then you look at that. In case you're thinking about establishing your own independent chamber, then take calculated risks and move forward instead of just taking just burning all your boats and going ahead with it. I would always suggest that take 2 steps forward and then wait, solidify that, and then take another 2 steps forward. Yeah.
Ma'am.
I see Ria has a question. She's raised her
Yes.
hand.
Yes, ma'am. I'm firstly such an insightful session. I'm sorry I joined a little late, but I hope it was great. I just wanted to talk about this thing that bugs me a lot. It's that when some girl comes up with some issue she's faced because of patriarchy, one guy would definitely come up and say, "Not all men," and that bugs me the most. I mean, if you're talking to 100 guys, and out of those 100 guys, 95 guys have this male dominant male ego, then I think it's all men with exceptions. It's all
Correct.
men with exceptions rather than not all men. Because if a guy does some very basic thing, if he does if he does something bare minimum, or if he puts in bare minimum efforts, he's idolized. That's where we are going wrong. I mean, if he's idolized for that, then that means it's rare. Then that means apart from him, everyone, it's all men with exceptions. And
Correct.
I don't think that we can actually come up with a solution with this. We see these posts on Instagram calling guys out with this thing, and you would always see the comment sections filled up with this thing. Not all men, and then they would call female pseudo feminists, or they would call feminists as male hating people.
Hmm.
So, what do you think could be done with this?
Actually, if you ask me, the truth is that there is nothing that you can actually do to change it, because people who think that not all men can be painted with the same brush are actually thinking it wrong. You know why? Because if you are saying that no, I am a goody two person, but that person is not a goody two shoe person, so therefore um, you should not be painting me with that brush. That person is correct, that person is right, because he doesn't have the same thought process as the other person who has probably victimized someone. However, having said that, there may have been instances in that person's life where he could have stopped someone from doing something, and he's probably as guilty as the person who's the perpetrator. That's one. Second, nobody is asking for a man to come, for those 95 men to come and take ownership for those 5 people. Nobody's asking, right? So if I'm saying that, okay, this person is wrong, I am not saying that all the 99 other men are supposed to come and take ownership for the act that is done by that one person. All I'm saying is that this is my opinion, this is my observation. I am not pinpointing that all men are like this. Then why is it that you come and then say that all women are becoming feminist? Just by virtue of me being a woman, I become feminist? Not necessarily, because I am not a feminist. Like, for instance, if my personal views are there, I will always consider myself to be a humanist, because I've seen that men are also tortured in so many ways by women. There are so many laws which are being misused by women just now against men. But that doesn't stop me from also saying that, men are perpetrating so many things which are there, just now on any woman. Cruelty does not necessarily have to be physical cruelty, it can be mental cruelty. And these things are happening every single day. And for women, it becomes, we as women, it is very hard for men to sometimes understand. A lot of them do, but they don't see it, they don't understand that for us as women, we have to actually break 100 barriers, and they only have to break that one single barrier. So my fight becomes all the more. Tomorrow, if I do something which is wrong, if I do something which is wrong, there are 100 women who will be told that, look, she did it wrong, right? But if there are 100 men who are doing the same thing wrong, no other man will never be told that, he's done it wrong, or nobody's pointing fingers on that person. But I will be considered as a very bad example for everybody else, that dekho usne ye cheez kharab kiya, so therefore ye sabke liye kharab hai. We don't have solution to it. That solution will only come when there's a mindset shift that will happen. But I think increasingly, you know uh, that whole boys locker room syndrome is sort of going away. But it's there. I mean, I feel it at my age. I'm sure you girls feel it just now. I'm sure a lot of girls in the coming generation will also continue to feel it. That patriarchal thing just doesn't go. No matter how much ahead we go, we will always face it. Unfortunately, it's just going to be there. It's not just an Indian culture thing, it's also there in the Western world. Look at America, they've not had even one single president who's a woman. Imagine why? Because they are not supporting. They'll have someone like a Kamala Harris come, who's probably from a minority and therefore made a vice president, but no president. So it's not just an Indian tendency or an Eastern society tendency. West is completely filled with all this bullshit that's going on. Yep. Vartika has a question. She's raised her hand.
I actually don't have a question. So
Okay.
first, I'd like to thank you for collaborating and coming.
Thanks.
And I just wanted to share a few things with you
Oh, great. Yeah,
and
go ahead.
ask you something afterwards.
Sure.
So it's after 2 years that I'm listening to you. the first time I got to listen to you was when you were hosting an arbitration. There was this the pandemic had just started, and there was a conference on arbitration that you were hosting.
All right.
So that was the first time I saw you, and I was in
I hope
complete
I've
awe of
become
you.
thinner since then, Vartika.
What, ma'am?
I'm saying I hope I've become thinner since then. मैं पतली हो गई होंगी तब से. That's what I'm saying.
More than I look to you. What I feel is your aura is what is attractive. So I've been following you since then. And so there was this little request that I had. If I could get some chance to, maybe meet you or maybe do a project or something with you.
No, we must do it. So, I hope this Omicron thing is over soon so that, we can all start meeting publicly. As a matter of fact, Kumar had once called me and we had some other event that day in our Rotary Club and I couldn't come and meet you guys. But, I'm actually sort of really looking forward to meeting everybody in person because especially for Rotaract, I'm really excited about all the work that is going on. When I was in college, we had something which was called as NSS. So, that was something that used to excite me. But I never thought that, I would actually be part of Rotary as much. My brother was part of Rotaract, but I was never. And now that I've been given this opportunity of being part of Rotary, I really absolutely enjoy meeting people. And the biggest thing is that, there is so much learning which is involved. Every time you meet someone new from Rotaract or from Rotary, or in general also, you learn so much from everybody. They have so much experience of the projects that they are handling. I think ours being a new club, we've been experiencing a lot of challenge in that sense when it comes to execution of projects. So learning from you all will be a pleasure. One of these days I'll come over once this whole Omicron thing is over. Yeah.
Ma'am,
मुझे
honestly,
रिया लोगों से भी मिलना है, but I think Riya is still in Dehradun. Riya, you are up in the hills, no?
Not in the hills, but yeah, in Uttarakhand, like the plain
Uttarakhand.
areas. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So whenever she's back, I hope we get to meet. Yeah.
thank you so much, ma'am. And actually, the fact knowing that you have joined Rotary, it made me actually feel closer to you. And that was another time I felt that, being a Rotaractor was actually a really good choice.
Actually, as a matter of fact, I've been trying to get as many people as possible into Rotary now because it's like, uh, see, initially when you're not part of Rotary, you don't know how life changing it can be. But when you become a part of Rotary or Rotaract, you realize that it actually changes your life to the better. And especially Ria and a lot of you would have seen your parents actually being part of Rotary, and you would then probably see the culture which is there. I mean, service comes before everything else for all of us.
Definitely, ma'am. So I would request Advika to take over.
So, ma'am, I would like to hand over to Garima now. Thank you so much from my end. It has been like I really liked interacting with you, and I would really like to meet you in person someday.
I shall come and we will have good samosa and chai somewhere, okay?
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
favorite.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Rotaractor Advika, for inviting me. As we move towards the end of today's session, I, on behalf of Rotaract Club of Noida Youth, RID 3012, would like to express my gratitude to our honorable speaker, Ms. Pallavi Pratap, to take out time from her busy schedule to grace the event. The session has been quite informative yet enjoyable. Thank you, ma'am, for being there with us today. I
Thanks,
would
Garima.
also
Thanks everybody for having me here. Sorry, I'm cutting you short here, but I just wanted to thank everybody. Thank you, Ria, for making it today. Thank you, Vartika, for giving me that beautiful thing about 2 years ago and today. And thank you, Kumar, for thinking about this. I think it's been an amazing session. And all the boys and girls here, I hope we all move to a very gender neutral society very soon, and that in our endeavors at least we make sure that the other person from any gender is feeling comfortable while we speak to each other. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would also like to thank the entire team of Rotaract Club of Noida Youth, along with the collaborating club, Rotaract Club of Legis Social, Chandigarh, RID 3080. Thank you to all our supportive participants for their enthusiastic participation. We will be back with another session of Rotaract Talks. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned. Thank you, everybody, for joining in.